Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be dissertating and talking about the North Node in the first house in the natal horoscope. As a lot of you know, the North Node is connected with our soul's purpose and mission. It can also be associated with perhaps things we were quote-unquote oblivious to or neglected in the first half of our lives, and then maybe say around age 30, the area that we need to emphasize and accentuate a little bit more. So anyway, the first thing is, I think one obvious conclusion one can come to with this placement is that perhaps in the first half of the person's life there may have been a very strong maybe overemphasis, say, on relationships and partnerships, and could possibly be to the detriment of this person. Maybe what happens here is this person might deprive themselves of looking after things connected with their own self, whether it could be the appearance, their needs, maybe even their general health could even be a possibility. And it's not about, in the second half of a person's life, it's not about necessarily being egocentric, but it's about emphasizing the self a little bit more. It's okay to help other people out and try to appease people and want to do the right thing for others, but the problem is we can't deprive our own needs at the same time. Our own vitality, our own health, our own bodies, our needs are important as well. When you take care of whether it's your own needs or even maybe things connected with the appearance, which is the first house, we can make that good impression on others and be able to have maybe have even better chance of having the right relationships because of this. Now, we look at this placement, and this could be something where, we look at the seventh house. There may even have been, an emphasis for whatever reason, even on legal matters, because the seventh house is connected with this. But we look at the North Node being in the first, and it's like there may, after the second half of the person, after the first half of the person's life, perhaps there won't be as much emphasis on this. Perhaps the partnerships, the South Node being in the seventh house, and also legal matters, perhaps there were legalities to deal with more in the first half of the person's life, and after maybe the 30 years or so, the person can finally attend to his or her own needs and not be so consumed as much with other people, in terms of having them possibly dominate their time, and even things that may have been of a legal nature, in some cases. Look at this in the South Node being in the seventh house. Obviously, as I've stated previously, is that the South Node is kind of like, I look at it as the redundant part of the person's horoscope, and with the person perhaps having the overemphasis on their on others, relationships and partnerships, it could be something where the person does forget about maybe his or her own self, and the person needs to be careful even in the second half of the life that they don't have to feel like they have to keep reverting back to this and being constantly having to do something for others, which makes them feel like maybe they come across as always better to somebody else, and appeasing, feeling compelled to appease someone else. Perhaps in the first half of the person's life they may have been even attending to somebody that was somewhat debilitated, or they felt that some people didn't have the ability to help themselves. Well, problem is, if you spend too much time being dominated by someone else's needs, even if it is a person that doesn't always can't help his or herself substantially, you deprive yourself of giving to yourself and helping yourself. It's okay to be selfless and to give to others, but not at the expense of your own needs. And it's about also the first house, North Nona first, is about establishing the identity and understanding, I think, who you are as a person, what mission you want to fulfill in your own life for yourself. And once you can establish that, and having that self-assuredness more in yourself, and being able to be assertive in terms of attending to your own needs, you'll find that you can attract those right, you come across more confidently, you can attract those right partnerships and find an equilibrium and balance between doing things for yourself and those of others. So anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment for the North Node in the first house in a natal horoscope. Stay tuned next time, where I'll be dissertating and talking about the North Node in the second house in the natal chart. Two things I want to get with you on before I head out. Firstly, the stars may impel but do not compel. And secondly, never isolate any single astrological element, aspect, planetary placement, position, configuration, influence, or what have you, and make an analysis on a person, astrologically speaking, based on this alone, because a person astrologically is the sum of all their components in their natal chart, and not just one. Until next time, people, stay well.